Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone podcast. My name is Kathy. Today is November 6th, 2025. It is a day after the hearing held before Judge Stephen J. Hippler I that has been conducted in Idaho versus Kohberger since the closure of the case back on July 23rd, 2025. It was on the matter of restitution. There's a couple of items that we were anticipating hitting the docket that's available for your review, but before we get to what they are, I wanted to bring to your attention that there are two items on the case summary page. There is a notation here that on November 5th, 2025, there were court minutes that were taken down regarding the Judge Hippler hearing that happened that day. Again, this was the restitution hearing. And while this document has a PDF icon next to it, that has always been historically a signal that this is a public record that should hit the docket at a certain time. There have been, in my opinion, court minutes from prior proceedings that have never been released to the public. So we're going to monitor the docket to see if and when this set of court minutes from the restitution hearing is released to the public. There's also a court order. It is dated November 6th, 2025. This is an order sealing the notice of filing, the declaration in support of the defendant's objection to the state's request for additional restitution. Now, this is quite compelling because this court order comes a day after the hearing occurred. We were anticipating that there was going to be a reply to the state of Idaho's response seeking additional restitution, and it appears that this was filed right before the hearing. Let's go now to the court docket and see what this order says. It is dated November 6th, 2025, and what it states is as follows. Order sealing notice of filing declaration in support of defendant's objection to the state's request for additional restitution. It says here, this court, having before it the motion to seal notice of filing declaration in support of defendant's objection to the state's request for additional restitution and good cause appearing, now therefore, it is hereby ordered that the notice of filing declaration in support of defendant's objection to the state's request for additional restitution filed with the court on November 4th, 2025, shall be filed under seal, pursuant to, and then the legal authority is given. And it states here, so ordered November 5th, 2025, but it indicates clearly that this document was not filed with the clerk until the 6th. Those details are available at the very top right-hand corner of this court filing. That is the date that this officially was then taken by the clerk and put into the court record. Now let's take a look at the filing of the 4th. It says here, motion to seal notice of filing declaration in support of defendant's objections to the state's request for additional restitution comes now Brian C. Kohberger by and through his attorneys of record, and hereby moves the court for an order to seal the notice of filing declaration in support of defendant's objection to the state's request for additional restitution filed with the court on November 4th, 2025. This is dated the 4th of November, 2025, signed by Ann C. Taylor as attorney for Mr. Kohberger. So what this is, a declaration is evidence. It's like an affidavit, and you've seen them in this case many, many times. You've seen affidavit. Those are typically going to be notarized, where someone takes an oath and then the notary public will go ahead and notarize the document. A declaration is unsworn, but they're both evidence. It's somebody coming forward and giving some testimony that's relevant to whatever the issue is. Here, it would be the opposition to restitution. They're calling it additional restitution. Now, what does that declaration say? We do not know because it's filed under seal. But there was a statement that was made at the hearing yesterday that I've noted in looking at media, especially from mass media, that seemed to get a lot of interest. And it was at some point, I believe it was Judge Hippler who disclosed that Mr. Kohberger had received something in five figures or so put into his account during the 3 years that he was incarcerated. So perhaps that was included in that declaration that is under seal. This will now conclude this episode of the Indie Zone. My name's Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.